There he is. Excellent.
Hi, everyone. Sorry
Hey.
about that.
Hello.
Hey, Mitch. Okay, let's start. So first of all, thank you, Ben and Mitch, for joining us tonight. I know it's very late, so we really appreciate it. So we're gonna start off basically with. So as you know, Cryptoflation is a huge fan and investor of WOO Network, but I'm sure there are new members here that don't know who you are. So can you give us an overview of what is WOO Network, and how are you guys different from others?
Yeah, absolutely. First, really appreciate the opportunity to come here. I might start with a really quick personal background, so to get people up to speed. So my name is Ben. I got involved with WOO Network a little over a year ago, shortly after the token, or shortly before, before the token was about to launch. And when I met this project, I went in with very low expectations. And I previously had worked with a lot of projects in China, where I'm based, and was not expecting to meet people of the caliber that WOO Network had. And when I found out about Kronos Research and the impact they were making from the quantitative trading space, the background of the founders who come from careers on Wall Street, it was quite a surprise. So I was really glad to be here. And then shortly after the token launch, we met you guys here, Cryptoflation. And again, I maybe underestimated you guys at the beginning, but you wrote an amazing report about us. And now we're at a period of quick growth. And we cannot underestimate the impact that the MENA region and guys like you are having on our industry. So for us, this is a great opportunity to get here and talk to everyone. And so thank you for that.
I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Mitchell, I don't know if you want to do a really quick intro because people might not be familiar with you.
Sure. Before I do you guys want to translate Ben's part?
Yes, I will translate it now. فكان بيعرف عن روحه بن قال لي قبل سنة دش في وو كان ما عنده اكسبكتيشن أو يعني عالية بس انصدم ليشوف الموظفين اللي هناك وكرونوس ريسيرش الخلفية اللي عندهم وايد كانت عودة من ذاك اليوم بدأ يعني حبه للشغل وتعرف علينا كربتوفليشن من الريبورت اللي سواه مستر واي وحين اليوم ضيوف عندنا. Yes, Mitchell, you can go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Mitchell. I've been in crypto for a few years. I worked in traditional finance. I worked at the Bank of Canada, the central bank, for a few years. Also in consulting at KPMG. I found out about WOO early this year, and then kind of got involved with the community, and over time joined in the last few months as an employee. I work with WOO on the product side, on the marketing and growth side, as well as on the WOO Ventures investments, and part of the DeFi, decentralized finance initiatives, like our WooFi DEX that we'll talk about more.
Nice
amazing. All right.
روح.
أترجم على السريع. أوكي.
أي.
فمتش عنده خلفية كم سنة في القطاع المالي وبعد في الكريبتو يي من سنترال بانك وحين كان داش في الكوميونتي مال وو بداية هالسنة كعادي كيعني مستخدم بس قبل كم شهر بدأ ودش وياهم في الشغل بس هو ميود وايد أشياء ميود الخدمات مالهم الماركتينج وحتى وو ادفنتشرز اللي هو مالهم مال الاستثمار وبعد فوق كل هاي الدي فاي بارت فيعني هو مغطي كل قسم.
Okay, so to the next question. So can you give us an overview of like WOO Network and how are you guys different from others?
Yeah, sure. And hope we're not putting your translation skills to the test, but very important to hear from you guys. Basically, WOO Network started from traders quantitative traders specializing in market making and HFT. And the initial challenge that the founders had was that they were being asked to go to too many places at once. Too many venues were popping up. And the ideal solution was something at the time called like a dark pool, which is a network where other people can connect for really deep liquidity. And we've quickly moved away from this model where we're just providing liquidity to institutions. So now we're targeting the entire retail professional traders as well as institutions. But the specialty is still the same. It is providing the cheapest liquidity, and what I mean is the deepest liquidity where you can get the best price execution to all sorts of platforms, whether you're an exchange, a trading desk, or just a retail trader yourself, as well as into DeFi.
That's great. Okay, quickly I will translate that. Okay, فهم بدأوا كمتداولين وصناع السوق. نفس إذا شفتوا بعد السمر اللي احنا سويناه أو الريبورت بتشوفون إن كانوا يودون من 5 إلى 15 مليار كمية التداول في اليوم. بس شوفوا المشكلة الرئيسية اللي كانوا يواجهونها إن عشان يسوون هالتداول بأحجام عودة لازم يروحون أكثر من مكان. فهم قالوا شنو بنسوي؟ ليش ما نجمع كل هالسيولة في مكان واحد وسموهم دارك بول. الحين اليوم اللي يسوونه إنه يقدمون هالسيولة العميقة وايد حق الأشخاص العاديين إحنا وبعد حق الشركات المالية أو الغير مالية. وميزتهم إنه يقدمون هالسيولة بأرخص العمولة والأسعار حق مو بس المنصات المركزية حتى اللا مركزية في الديفاي. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I can add a little more here. I think what differentiates us from other trading platforms is that they look to subsidize the market makers by charging large fees to the retail traders. And this is a bit of a chicken and egg problem with liquidity, where if you don't have it, no retail trader wants to go there. So we have flipped the model by obviously our ties to Kronos Research. We have the liquidity and we're able to charge the market makers to provide the best liquidity to retail. So what we're trying to do is, democratize access to liquidity by leveraging the low fees that the market makers achieve across all of CeFi and provide that to everybody.
Alright. فقال الفرق بينهم وبين الباقي ميزتهم أن غالبا في الوضع العادي شي يصير عشان الماركت الصانع السوق يكون العمولته أقل يقطون كل العمولات والفيز إلى ظهر الأشخاص العاديين. فهم يقلبوا هالسالفة لأن هم نفسهم صناع سوق لأنهم كرونوس فيقدرون يعطون هالسيولة وهم من عندهم لأن السيولة فما يحتاج يقطون العمولات وايد على الأفراد العاديين فممكن في النهاية نحصل اللو عمولات قليلة أو صفر توصل.
And one final point, what our observation is, as markets mature, they tend to be a race towards the bottom with fees, which is what we've seen in traditional finance. And so we believe that's where the crypto industry is going. It's maturing and the fees will be lower and lower. So we're very strongly positioned to be the next, the exchange platform of the future.
I apologize. I lost you there.
So I'll take it from here. فمعظم التراديشنال فاينانس الاكسشينجز بشكل عام الفيز كله يروح حق الريتيل بس اليوم في التراديشنال فاينانس الفيز كله يروح حق الماركت ميكرز. فميزه وو او كرونوس ريسيرش قاعد يخلون الماركت ميكرز يدفعون بدال الريتيل. فهني وين بدال ما يروح الفيز كله على ظهر الريتيل انت تدفع مبالغ يدفعون الماركت ميكرز فهني انت ما تدفع شيء. فمغيرين الكل الموديل بشكل عام Okay, so let's go to the other question. So we know that WOO token has many different utilities, and the most famous one is being like deep liquidity with zero fees, the 1,800 one. So what other utilities are you most excited about, and like you may introduce in the future or as of now? And that's it, basically.
Sure. I think obviously facilitating trading is the big one. I think one of the most exciting ones that's happening right now is we just enabled the staking on WooFi, where providing the best liquidity on DeFi, we're able to automate the fees going through these smart contracts, and then we're able to provide that to Woo stakers. And this is going to be something that happens across all these chains. Which we're very lucky to be doing, because the current trend in the industry, we're heading towards this fragmented future with all these different layer ones, layer two, side chains. So that's a big one. And then apart from that, is something we're very efficient at doing is providing yield to users. I mean, because that's essentially what a quant firm does, is they take capital and then they provide yield on this return to their investors. And we will be able to do this for retail investors in the future. So, I mean, that's the basic need of any cryptocurrency user, is they want to be able to trade, they want to earn yield. And we can provide both of these things.
alright. فسؤالنا كان انه هو العملة هو حق اللي عندهم اياها في استخدامات متعددة. اشهر شيء انه يكون عندك صفر عمولة على التداول مالك، بس قالوا لهم شنو الاشياء الثانية اللي انتم يعني متحمسين لها. فقالوا اول شيء اللي الحين تو يعني فريش هو الستيكينج، او اللي تصك عملاتك في decentralized exchange او منصه غير مركزيه، تقدر تحصل نسبه ربح. وهالشيء سووها اوتوميتد، فكل العمولات اللي هم يجمعونها اوتوماتيكلي بيروحون حق اللي سووا ستيك في المنصه. الحين هاي في ستيك في المنصه المركزيه، وهاي في المنصه غير مركزيه، اثنيناتهم مختلفين. وبعد بيروحون الى بلوك تشينات ثانيه. الحين هم في باينانس سمارت تشين، بس بيروحون اماكن ثانيه. هاي اول شيء. ثاني شيء قال يبون يعطون الحاملين عملته نسبه ربح من عندهم، من تداولهم هم. هاي الحين مو موجود، بس حاليا يسوونه حق شركات العودة، فهم يبون يسوون ذي حق الأشخاص العاديين.
Amazing. So another question is, it seems like you guys are picky on listing coins. So can you share with us which kind of metrics you look for a coin to be considered a WOO token? I mean, like listed on the WOO exchange.
Sure. Mitchell, do you want to jump in here?
Yeah, I can do that. So we have actually quite a few listings. Maybe not as much as Binance, but I think we have over 75 listings now. Many of the top coins on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko. And we are looking to add more coins, especially DeFi coins on each blockchain. We recently actually just have Trader Joe on Avalanche, and other kind of DEXs on other blockchains is where we're going to go in the future. In terms of listing, we just require that the token has enough liquidity, that it's reasonably large before it can get listed. But we encourage our community to post in the Discord if there's a token that they want listed, and we can analyze whether it's feasible.
Okay, I had a question regarding this, because I was spamming your Discord before to add Luna. I'm not sure why you guys are not adding Luna.
Yes, sorry, that's a unique one. We use a custodian to safeguard assets, and that one currently wasn't integrated. But that's something we're working on in the future, is having custody support for some other blockchains like Luna.
All right, sounds good. Okay, فسألناهم شنو المعيار عشان يضيفون عملة في المنصة. قالوا أول شيء بدوا إنه already حاطين الحين 74 عملة، وكلهم من العملات يعني من التوب في مواقع مثلا كوين جيكو وكوين ماركت كاب. بس احيانا تركيزهم على يضيفون عملات زياده من الديفاي مثلا راديوم، بانكيك سواب، تريدر جو، هالاشياء يعني انواع العملات. ولكن قال اي عمله ممكن تقدم ان تنضاف على المنصه، لكن بشرط انه يكون فيها كفايه سيوله كفايه، باختصار يعني. فانا اعطيت مثال عمله مثلا لونا، قلت له هاي فيها كفايه يعني سيوله، ليش لا؟ فقال لي يعني هاي حاله خاصه، بس تقدر تدش الدسكورد مالهم وتكتب اي عمله وان شاء الله ينزلونها.
Yeah, I'd like to add that the last week we've seen 2 major hacks in CeFi, and a lot of these smaller exchanges, they're using new assets and new blockchains as a way to pull in users. We're a little bit more conservative towards risk, and a lot of that has to do with we, are used to working with institutions. So, things like integrating new blockchains. We will get to that, but a lot of it is dependent on custodians, right? So we have some third-party dependencies here.
alright. فقال ان يعني ضاف على الاسباب بعد ليش هم شوي بطاء، ان نفس ما شفته في الاخبار ان في صارت 2 هاكس قبل اسبوع تقريبا حق اكسشينجات، منصات مركزيه. قال السبب لانه يضيفون تشينز او بلوك تشينز مختلفين او عملات مختلفين بدون ما يعني ياخذون على ساعتهم ويحطون ناس، خلينا نقول ناس مثل باك اب. فهو يقولون في بالهم كذي، هم يبغوا يضيفون نتوركس جديده، ناس ما تشوفون اذا تبون تطورون عمله في تي ار سي او باينانس سمارت تشين او اس بي ال، لا هم يبغون يضيفون هالاشياء بس ياخذون على ساعتهم عشان ما يتهكرون.
Okay, so another question here. So with WooFi's success in Binance Smart Chain, what other chains are expected to be integrated soon? And a follow-up, any plans for XWOO to be collateralized with Abracadabra?
Yeah, great. It's a good question. I think our objective is to be anywhere where there are volume and users, because those are the things that are required for us to bring more flow to the network, which is our ultimate goal. So things like being EVM compatible. I don't know if you're familiar with Ethereum virtual machine, but a lot of these layer 2s are, so it makes it very easy for development. So pretty much you've seen our list of people who are interested in us. It includes Phantom, Avalanche, and Polygon, BSC, all these networks. And then we have other ones that are not EVM compatible, like Solana, Near. Those are have some more technical dependencies, but I mean, at the end of the day, there's no reason we can't be there. So I would say for WooFi, our goal is definitely to be there. And then maybe you could translate that, and then Mitchell can handle the second part regarding XWOO.
Sure.
رايت. فاحنا سألناهم ان ووفاي اللي هو المنصه الغير مركزيه لوو ان ناجحه حاليا لكن بس موجوده في باينانس سمارت تشين. فقالوا لهم متى نتوقع ان تضيفون اذر بلوك تشينز؟ فجوابه قال ان الحين هدفهم انه يروحون حق اي مكان فيه مستخدمين وفي كميات تداول عاليه. ليش؟ لان يعني بكبرها يعتمدون على السيوله، يقربون السيوله، فاذا في كميات تداول فبيدخلون ارباح، والارباح بتروح حق اللي عندهم عمله وو. فقال الحين اول تركيز بيكون لهم حق البلوك تشينز الاي في ام كومباتبل اللي مثل بوليجون، فانتوم، افالانش، يمكن بعد اربيتيوم، حتى يمكن عقب في المستقبل يعني مثلا زي واي رول ابس. بس في نفس الوقت حتى التشينز الثانيين مثلا سولانا ونير قالوا بعد بيضيفونهم، بس لانهم شوي اعقد في عمليا يعني عشان يضيفونه فبياخذ له شوي وقت. You can go ahead, Mitch.
Thank you. Yeah, so your second point, maybe first, just in general, the WOO network it has been expanding into DeFi for a while, right? We've provided liquidity on Polygon, BSC. We're working on integrating other chains. We've launched a DEX, right? That now people can trade directly with the WOO network on chain. We've launched on-chain staking. WOO Ventures does investments into DeFi protocols, right? So we're very focused on DeFi, and we've just actually launched WOO DAO, okay? And WOO DAO is now helping to expand even further into DeFi. So to this question, there's actually many different applications we want to work with. And maybe before I go into some of those, including Abracadabra, do you want to just translate that part?
Sure. فاحنا سالناه اول شيء شنو خططهم حق الاكسو، بس هو اعطاني اول شيء مقدمه عامه قبل ما يجاوب هالسؤال. فهو قال ان ابو نفسهم داشين بقوه في عالم الديفاي، وهم اوريدي قاعد يعطون سيوله حق باينانس سمارت تشين، وحتى يقدموها في بوليجون وباقي التشينز الثانيين، وفي بعد تقدر تسوي الستيكينج يعني تعرفون هاي الاشياء اللي في المنصات غير مركزيه كلها هم داشين اوريدي فيها، وحتى مستثمرين في مشاريع في هالمجال. وتو الحين من قبل تقريبا اسبوعين اذا مو غلطان فتحوا شيء جديد اسمه وو داو، وذي وبس هنا وقف طبعا فبرجع له. اوكي بس you can continue.
Oh, great, thank you. So XWOO. XWOO is WOO that's staked on WooFi and earns yield in the form of transaction fees paid on the block or on the DEX, right? So that's a yield generating asset. Now, with Abracadabra, you can borrow against assets, and ideally, if they're yield generating, it offsets the borrowing cost. And to your point, that I think that's very possible in the future with Abracadabra, and even in the long run, maybe other platforms like Aave or Compound. I know we actually have Rari already enabled for WOO, not XWOO, but there's definitely room to expand to DeFi on the borrowing lending side. Part of that will also be enabled, I just want to add, by lower price volatility. So as WOO becomes larger and more adopted, the price volatility should decrease, at least like relative to, say, Bitcoin and ETH, and that will help it be more utilized in DeFi.
alright. فقال الحين نفس ما قلنا لكم في الحين برودكت جديد اسمه ووفاي، واليوم فتحوا الستيكينج حق وو. انت تحط وو في الموقع، هو منصه غير مركزيه فبتحتاج محفظه زين، وتحصل ربح من التداول اللي قاعد يصير. يعني المتداولين اللي يتداولون في عليهم العموله هاي تطرش لك وكل الناس اللي حاطين الوو مالهم داخل المنصه. فعقب جاوب علينا عن ابركادابرا فقال نقدر يعني في مخطط انه يحطون هل اكسو اللي هو عباره عن ستيكت وو في المنصه. فشي يصير فانت قاعد تاخذ قرض في نفس الوقت الوو مال قاعد يكبر في قيمته لانه قاعد يدش له الربح وانت ماخذ عليه قرض. وقال بعد مع الوقت وو بتكون اكبر، التذبذب في الاسعار بتكون اقل، فممكن استخدامها في الديفاي يزيد وايد من الحين.
I'd like to add one observation on the industry. This is a little bit of departs from just talking about ourselves, but it seems like a lot of the players are trying to build these closed ecosystems. So you have Binance trying to create BSC, and then NFT marketplaces. And the idea is it will generate value for their ecosystem, right? Obviously, Crypto.com just just launched their Kronos chain. Coinbase is listing an NFT platform. FTX obviously has Solana, and they're launching an NFT platform. So we're one of the few networks who are approaching this differently we're not going to try to build something that's our own to try to grab all the users and bring them to us. We're more about being liquid and fluid and multi-chain and going from ecosystem to ecosystem.
alright. فقال الحين حاليا المنصات كلها او حتى التشينز تركيزهم كلهم انه يسوون خلينا نقول نظام مغلق. شنو يعني؟ مثلا تشين خاص، مثلا باينانس سووا تشين باينانس سمارت تشين، وداخل هالباينانس سمارت تشين في NFT محلات NFT بس خاصه حق هالتشين. فقاعد يصير كنا ان تعرف كل شركه مسويه يعني نظام حقها بس. نفس FTX عندهم سولانا، وفي نفس الوقت قاعد يفتحون NFT بس خاص حق FTX او بس خاص حق سولانا والى اخره. بس قال هو انه توجههم عكسهم تماما. هم مفتوحين، يبون يسوونه غير، يبون يخلونه مفتوح حق كل من ينتقلون من مكان لمكان. ما عندهم يعني باختصار كأنهم مو ماكسيز. هاي الاختصار يعني.
Very nice answer, Ben. We like the approach how you guys are like not centralized and going like the full multi-chain route. So let's go to our next question. So we saw many partnerships with DEXs and incentives for liquidity providers. What was the reason for what was the reasoning behind this extra emission for WOO?
Mitchell, do you want to take this one, or do you want me to do it?
You can start off, and then I can add anything.
Okay. I think when we look at growth, right, there's a number of ways we can do this. And generally, like rewards in crypto are a lot fueled by this growth, right? Right now, obviously, we're not optimizing for like what other cryptocurrency projects might do, where they try to become very disinflationary and try to make a select group of founders extremely wealthy. So our approach is definitely we want to grow very quickly, and rewards are a great way to align the interest of all the stakeholders, whether it's the people trading, whether it's the people holding the token, or new platforms who are looking to integrate with us on DeFi. And what we don't like is when we have to make a decision. Because projects will always come to us. CeFi platforms, they always come to us and want us to, give them rewards in order to list there. DeFi platforms, it's the same thing. And so that's part of the DAO initiative. We want to be able to make some of these decisions more transparent, let people decide for themselves whether this is a good use of rewards.
Mitch, is there anything you want to add before I translate?
No, I think that's great.
All right. فالسؤال اللي سألناهم إن في وايد يعني أبوه سوى عندهم شركاء وايد مع دكسز، مع اكسشينجات مختلفة يعني، وكل وهالشيء يزيد نسبة الجوائز. يعني يحطونهم نفس تعرف اللي انت تحط مثلا ستيك او فارم يعطونك جوائز، فهاي يزيد كمية العملة في السوق. إذا زادت كمية العملة في السوق فأصعب يرتفع السعر كنا. اوكي، فسألناهم ليش يعني سويتوا كذي، فقالوا هما تركيزهم الحين ان يكبرون وو اسرع وقت ممكن، واحسن طريقه لقوها ان يعطون مكافآت وجوائز حق اللي يودون وو. فمن كذي اللي تروح مثلا سبوكي سواب او بانكيك سواب كانوا مسوين شراكه حق شهر شهرين يعطونك جوائز. ليش؟ لأنه يقولون أوكي أنت ميود وو كل هالمدة تقدر تحطه وتحصل لك فلوس وانت قاعد. فمن كذي هاي كانوا تركيزه. بس قال لكن أن الحين هم يكرهون أن لازم يأخذون هالقرارات. ليه مثلا في منصة تطلب منهم أعطونا جوائز حق نعطيهم اللي يقدمون السيولة، فيقول هم يكرهون أن يأخذون قرار. فشنو قالوا يسوون؟ أن الداو الحين الجديد اللي توه أتكلم عنه بيخلون أنتوا حاملين عملة وو تقررون شنو يمشي شنو ما يمشي. أنت في يدكم المستقبل.
Yeah, and a great example of that is recently Izumi. It's a protocol that works on top of Uniswap v3, and they came to us about a week and a half ago, and they said they want to incentivize users would be interested in providing rewards. And we had just launched the DAO. So this was a great opportunity to say, create a request for comments in our Discord. And now we're going to have an AMA on Monday with them to allow them to put this case to the community. And the community will have a say in whether we want to do this. So it's pretty exciting to see the community to be in charge of these emissions, to feel growth, and we feel it will help them understand the decision-making process we have and empower everybody to make good decisions.
That's amazing to hear. But before I translate, follow-up question to that. What's the turnaround time for passing such proposals?
I can take that.
Sure.
So anyone can propose or start with a WRC, a request for comment. Okay. And that can be about any idea related to the DAO. Ideally, it gets a lot of feedback from the community. And from there, if a large share of the community is indicating support, we can put it towards a WOO improvement proposal, WIP. And that's where we can do the formal voting for people that are verified as voters on the Discord.
Yeah, and I think we're using a lot of casual terms like temperature check. Like we're seeing if something is really warm or hot from the community, we can move it faster, right? And if we don't get a very good response, then we can stop it, right? There's not a very set way because we're growing organically as a community.
alright. فأعطونا مثال عن آخر شيء قلته أنا. فيقول إن في يا لهم بروجكت منصة قالوا لهم نبي تعطونا مكافآت عشان نعطي المستخدمين. هم الحين توهم بدأوا هاي الداو، فقالوا اوكي خليه كأول تجربة. فشنو يصير؟ فأول شيء هم يحطون البروبوزل أو الاقتراح، عقب بيسوون AMA نفس كذي. تعرفون شلون احنا قاعد نسألهم هم يجاوبون، بيبون المستخدمين هم الكوميونتي مالهم بيشرحون لهم شنو الاقتراح مالهم، وعقب يصوتون بالتصويت. بيتقرر إذا صدق بيعطون مكافآت وجوائز حق هالمنصة ولا لا. فالحين قاعد يتحرك التحكم بهالأشياء من أيادي وو إلى أيادي الهولدرز. وضاف نقطة ثانية إن أي واحد منكم تقدر تسوي اقتراح، تفتح اقتراح، وإذا شافوا في تفاعل من الكوميونتي مالهم فهم بيطوفونه عشان يبتدي تصويت. وقت التصويت التصويت عاد في ناس معينين يقدرون يصوتون، بس إذا طاف خلاص يعني بيحطونه في خطاتهم. وقلت له عن الوقت ايش كثر يعني يطول لما مثلا يبتدي الاقتراح الى ما يتطبق. فقال يقيسون يعني اللي ناس في الدسكورد مثلا يشوفون اذا هم متحمسين على الشيء بيسرعونه، اذا شافوا ما حد متحمس يصكونه ويمشون. Alright.
Okay, so another question is, so we know with the world going to KYC and regulations into crypto, it was mentioned in the light paper that there will be a decentralized in ownership and operations. So how can WooX be compliant with regulations when there is a possibility that many that users may reject such governance proposals?
Sure. I think this is an easy question to answer. First, we have to say that the crypto industry is not what it was 3 years ago, where you could break a lot of rules, move really fast, and get rewarded for those actions. We're seeing exchanges like Binance run into all kinds of issues. They recently withdrew from Singapore. Obviously, Huobi just shut down all their Chinese users. So compliant is the way forward for CeFi. With regards to regulations and decentralized governance, we want the network to be able to succeed on its own. And that's important for the token itself to not be considered a security. That's one part. in terms of WooX, that's more of a business, a centralized exchange running on the Woo network. So for WooX, we're not giving up the governance, but this is just one broker. We consider it like a broker bringing flow to the network. So like we're not just saying, all right, everyone can decide the future of WooX. That's still going to be under control, but all the products in DeFi, all the DAO initiatives and everything we do on this side will move towards a more decentralized front.
سألناهم إن كانوا محطوط عندهم إنهم مذكرين إن في النهاية بينتقلون شوي شوي هم الحين متمركزين فبيكونون غير متمركزين بس قلنا لهم الحين الحكومات والبنوك المركزية ممكن يطلبون منكم يعني نفس متطلبات لازم بس إذا جات المتطلبات يمكن المستخدمين يصوتون إن لا إحنا ما نوافق وشلون عقب يعني بينصك المنصة فهو قال في فرق حاطين WooX هي المنصة المركزية ما بيكون الأشخاص إحنا يعني مثلا حاملين العملة أو هذين عندنا تحكم فيها إحنا لقنا في تصويت واقتراحات هاي مو بحق WooX هاي حق الووفايس الاشياء الغير مركزيه انتوا كمستخدمين كحاملين العمله بيكون عندكم القرار في يدكم فقال عطى مثال ان الحين مثلا باينانس صكوا في سنغافور وحين كل القطاع اللي في الكريبتو قاعد يروح الى توجه انه يكون متوافق مع القوانين خلاص ما يصير الحين يعني تخالف وتتوقع أنها بتمشي أمورك نفس ما نشوف حوالينا فهم كذي حطوا هالتفريقة.
Okay. Okay, so it's 1 second. Yeah, so WooX UI is the main point we hear from retail users. Is there any plan to renovate it, or is there any reason why it was this way?
Yeah, this is a great point because we started out very focused on active and professional traders because we believe this is a market that can be improved. As we grow, we're going to become more retail friendly. And one of the ways is obviously through the app. Retail traders generally use apps, mobile apps to trade. So the apps that we've already released on iOS and then on Android, it's coming before the end of the month. These are a lot more friendly for retail. And then the next big thing would be next year, we're creating a lot of localized platforms, including Arabic type platforms. And we'll have something called WooX Lite, which will be more like a swap, more for users who are, they don't have the same needs as professional traders, basically.
That's good. Follow-up question for that. So right now, you don't, US users cannot use your services. And now you said there will be more localized platforms. So are we expecting US-based Woo exchange?
That's probably the most difficult one to answer, just because the SEC is the most aggressive in terms of regulators. Would not write it off, but it's one of those things where until it happens, you cannot really commit to it. And we don't want to be soliciting US users before that day, right? So I'll leave that one as cannot really comment on it. But for us as a company, I don't think any of us envision us having success without ending up in the US market because it is the largest for cryptocurrency currently.
All right, thank you. فاحنا سألناهم إن أغلب المستخدمين أنا بعد منهم كلنا نسب شكل البرنامج أو الموقع إنه يلوع الشبل الصراحة يعني قديم تحس يعني من التسعينات وكذي طبعا زين ما يفهمون فقاعد نسبهم بس إيه فقلنا لهم يعني في خطنا تغيرونه فقال إن بالبداية كان تركيزهم على المتداولين المحترفين واللي وايد يتداولون فهذا اللي ما يفتكرون الحين بالشكل بس الحين هم اللي قاعد ينمون كبروجكت كامل فيبون يكون الشكل او يكون مناسب حق الاشخاص العاديين نفسنا فمن كذي اول خطوه سووها انه سووا الاب موبايل اب اكثر يعني شكله تعرف يعني احسن شوي وضعه اسهل استخداما. بس بعد قالوا في السنه الجايه بيسوون منصات مخصصه حق كل منطقه. مثلا قال بيسوون منصه حق العرب انه يعني عشان اسهل تستخدمها. وبعد بيسوون منصه او برنامج خاص اسمه وو اكس لايت. اذا شفتوا قبل مثلا شلون في قبل اف تي اكس وبلوك فوليو مثلا نفس الطريقه اللي بيكون وو اكس لايت شيء بسيط كلش بس تسوي سواب يعني ما في تعقيدات اي واحد تعطيه بيفهم شلون يستخدمه. وسالته عن اذا بينتقلون يعني هل بيفتحون منصه حق امريكا فقال وايد صعب لان قوانينهم وايد صعبه بس يقول يعني في النهايه اذا تبي تكبر لازم تدش هالسوق. فيقول ما نقدر نعطيكم يعني تاريخ او شيء بس بيحاولون بس هو صعب الشيء.
Okay, so follow-up question. So buy and burn has been in a steady increase for the past months. So when do you think or predict that will start becoming deflationary in the long term?
Yeah, I mean, this is a good tokenomics question. I think when you step back, we have such a huge room for growth, parabolic growth in this industry, based on the number of users, right? I mean, when you look at the big exchanges, they have millions of users from every region, right? I mean, millions of users in Turkey, millions of users in MENA, millions of users in Russia. And when you look at the economics of our 1800 staking, right? I mean, based on the current circulating supply, it's about 800 million. Divided by 1800, it's less than 500,000 users it would require to completely fill up this circulating supply. So we're not too concerned about being incredibly deflationary at this stage because the priority is to grow. And if we do grow at a rate that is competitive with other exchanges, this will have a very profound effect on the tokenomics. And long term, as our growth starts to slow, as we start to really penetrate markets, and then you have sort of a peak on your growth, that's when the volumes will be much higher. And as the volumes are much higher, then the deflationary mechanisms kick in. So you have this kind of meeting in the middle, the rapid growth, meeting the deflationary tokenomics, and it's a very sustainable model that we believe.
alright. فسألناهم ان الحين حاليا في وو هم يشترون شهريا من السوق وو ويحرقونه. يستخدمون الربح 50% من ربحهم ربح المنصه وعقب يشترون ويحرقون. ليش؟ عشان يقللون كميه العمله وو في السوق. فقلنا لهم الحين متى تتوقعون ان بتكون عمله وو انكماشيه يعني مو بيزيد السبلاي مالها بالعكس يقل. فقال حال يعني هو ما بياخذ له وايد بس تركيزه مو بكذي. فيقول حاليا يعني بس بياخذ له تقريبا 5000 شخص حاطين ال 1800 وو عشان يستفيدون من الصفر العموله تكون صفر. وهاي كفايه انه يغطي كل السبلاي يعني الكميه الوو الموجوده في السوق كلها بتروح. لكن يقول ذي مو هدفهم حاليا. هم تركيزهم الحين انه يكبرون ينمون بشكل سريع عشان يوصلون الى مستويات المنصات الاكبر. وليوصلون هالمستوى ليوصلون القمه كل الكميات التداول بتزيد وايد. فمن هاي بيزيد كميه الربح وتزيد كميه الربح بتزيد كميه الشراء والحرق وبتصير انكماشيه على المدى البعيد. وهاي يمكن من احد الاسباب ليش مستر واي قال عقب 4 سنين عشان كل هالاشياء اوريدي صارت.
Okay, so thank you very much. We're just gonna have a quick Q&A. It will be like 10 minutes. So أي واحد إنه عنده سؤال يرفع يده وش اسمه ويسأل.
You will see the icon below. You can click on it. We will invite you. Then you should accept. Made, I invited you.
Okay.
Yeah. And while we wait, I really apologize for the long answers, but you guys are doing an amazing job of translating, so thank you for that.
That's actually a good length.
No, actually, that was perfect.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, Ben and Mitchell.
Good to talk again.
Wait, can you guys hear me? I don't know if it's clear.
We can hear you.
Yeah. Congrats, Ben, on the upcoming son.
Thank you, and thank you for contributing to our DAO.
I was about to see if you remember me from the DAO. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's fun activities. Yeah, thank you. So my question is about the recent OKX listing. It caused a lot of FUD on Twitter regarding it bringing selling pressure, since you guys are giving out WOO as rewards for people staking on OKX. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, do you want to translate the question first, or do you want me to answer it?
You can answer it. It's okay.
Right. I think people are always very sensitive to this, but the actual tokenomics of it are really, like, when you looked at the amount of OKB that was staked, the max was at 1,000 per person. I think they had 6 million OKB staked. The most, if you staked 1,000, which was like $27,000 at the time, was like $100 per person. So you were literally distributing this over thousands and thousands of people, probably over 100,000 people. And when you do this, it's probably not going to have a very profound effect on the token price, because not all these people are going to dump. They're not all going to dump at the same time. And even if they do dump, it's only $100 compared to the marketing benefits of doing this. And why would someone do this? These launch pools are ways that exchanges get sort of leverage over a project, right? If you want to be listed, you have to incentivize them some way to do it, right? So doing these launch pools bring them users, it brings them traffic, which is what they want. And for us, the week before, the biggest complaint was that we need more liquidity in CeFi. And what happened was recently, like, Huobi had to close down the Chinese users. Obviously, Chinese users went elsewhere. And if you look at the volume stats on CeFi, obviously Binance, FTX, and OKX were the biggest beneficiaries. So there was huge growth in OKX. They're the clear number 2 exchange in CeFi. There's a lot of market makers, big traders on that platform. So long term, we had to be on OKX. And so, I mean, it was long term, it's going to be a good decision for sure.
Thank you for the answer. Thank you.
هلا الترجمة حق عقب. Wait.
Okay.
Yeah, because the translation is gonna be so long, so we're just gonna like finish all the questions and then do it.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so wait. Next one. Come on, Saido. Hi.
Hi, Saido.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
I just want to ask, so nowadays social play an important role. So other exchange and token use impact by sponsoring. So like NBA teams or F1 teams or UFC. So I know the project from Yusuf, who's Mr. Y, so I'd be interested in. So in future, we will see WOO sponsoring players or NBA teams or doing any more promotion.
This is a great question. I see you have the Kobe Bryant profile pic, so you probably noticed about the Staples Center and now the Crypto.com Center. This is something we look at, right? I mean, when exchanges are paying $700 million to sponsor an arena, what that means is they're making a ton of money off their users, right? So we think that the industry, it's only going to be able to sustain this for a short time period, because eventually more efficient models are going to push that out. When there's that much marginal revenue off every user, it's a sign of an inefficient market. Now, are we going to be marketing? That's the bigger question. Of course we are. Right now, our platform is not in a position to onboard millions of like local mom and pop, grandma and grandpa type users who need fiat, they need WX Lite, they need very high localization. And when we say localization, we mean like the language of the platform. We mean customer support, speaking their language. We mean the support center has to be fully translated. Every email has to be fully translated. There's a lot that goes into it. So we're getting there. I think it's going to take another few quarters to get there. But when we do get there, obviously we will have some degree of marketing. And the other thing is that our network is more than just taking all the users onto WX. We can also succeed through DeFi, right? And DeFi doesn't care who you're paying, whether it's Tom Brady or Steph Curry. They only care about the best price execution. So that's our advantage. That's our edge. And we're also providing liquidity to other exchanges. So we could be capturing value from people on these other top platforms without them even knowing it, just because the liquidity we provide is being reflected back onto the WEX network. So there's 3 parts to that. The first is, yes, we will get there, probably not at the level of waste that we're seeing with the current exchanges. And then 2, we'll capture value through DeFi. And 3, we can capture value by providing liquidity on the exchanges that are doing this marketing, right? So it's either way, we probably get there in the end.
All right, amazing answer.
Good.
Thank you.
في واحد سؤال بس بقول واجه. There's one question text by Weed. He says, so you guys have staking tiers with the counter price for WOO. It's easy to go higher in tiers, but let's say WOO goes to $5. It will be much more expensive to get higher tiers. So what are your plans? Is it dynamic? Is it static?
I saw Mitchell unmuted himself. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
Like is yours, Mitch.
Thanks. I work with the product team. Staking program is one thing that we're working on revamping. This involves the staking tiers themselves, as well as some of the benefits across tiers. In terms of your question about accessibility, we're definitely open to revising the staking program over time to ensure that it's accessible, and that if WOO were to appreciate significantly, it would still be practical for a smaller holder to get access to zero-fee trading.
And because it's under WooX, that means the community will not have the say in these details, I am assuming.
Well, it can have input, right? We definitely want to have dialogue with the community, right? And part of the DAO is actually getting the community engaged to provide feedback and get involved. Right? In terms of a final say, I mean, we want to incorporate community feedback, but it's part of the overall WooX team's decision making. But that being said, we want the community input.
Thank you for that.
Okay. I don't think we worry about this too much, because I think every challenge is solvable, right? If we get to a point where the price is very high, like they mentioned in the question, there are very creative solutions to this, and it's a good problem to have, right? But it's not something that we're going to pull our hair out and try to set up the exact rules now, because things change so quickly in this industry. But yeah, I think what Mitchell said is very accurate.
We have one more question. Moniz, I just invited you. I can unmute your mic. Wait.
It's muted.
Your mic is muted. Okay. Then I'll just push you back to the audience. Anyways, I think that's enough for today. I would like to thank you, Ben and Mitch, for joining us at a very late time. We appreciate the hard work.
Could we ask you a question, actually?
Tell us.
I'm just kind of curious what you think we can do to better, serve the users in the MENA region, and how we can make a bigger impact.
You want to take this question?
Sorry, I couldn't see. I was replying to the chat.
So, wait, he's back. Just
hello.
Are you here? Okay, just
yeah.
question.
Can you hear me,
Then
guys?
I'm gonna answer your question, Ben.
Sorry.
Great.
Okay, ask ahead, Muniz.
Yeah, thanks, Ben and Michelle, for the great session. I have been following you guys since Feb, and I believe your product is great. My question is, what stops big market makers and exchanges, say like Binance and FTX, with great reputation, great product, from providing what you guys are providing? In other words, what's unique about WOO that makes it stand out against any potential move from such market makers?
Well, that's great. I think for Binance and FTX are a little bit different. For someone like Binance, they're not traders, right? And every exchange wants to be traders. All traders want to have an exchange. So FTX, they've kind of done that because they came from Alameda. But Binance, on the other hand, they don't have like the same in-house trading sophistication that we do. I think there are very few trading firms in the world who can compete with Kronos. Maybe one or two in the crypto space, but they maybe lack the risk appetite to do this sort of a venture, right? And so you always question, why would somebody take their current revenue model and throw it out the window? When you look at Coinbase, I think 98% last year of their revenue came from fees. For obviously for like Binance, Bybit, these type of exchanges, it's the same. So it's not really a question of would they, it's more of a question of like, can they, and does it make business logic? It's not something that we worry about, right? If they tried to do this, it would really upset their current business model. And even if they tried, would it be as effective as what Kronos is able to do? They have years of building infrastructure and relationships to get to kind of where they are now. So I think it's not something that we think about that much. We definitely have a first mover advantage in this space when it comes to providing liquidity.
So what you are implying is that it's a totally different experience when it comes to Kronos. Plus, for players like Binance and FTX, it's a different market. To them, it's a different market.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not. Yeah, Binance is really good at making great products, but they're not traders, right? So that's something that we have through our relationship with Kronos.
And just to add one more point, I think we embrace DeFi more, right? What other exchanges a DEX, right? We have an in-house ventures team that focuses on investing in early stage DeFi projects. We try to provide liquidity across chains. So I think embracing DeFi is another area as well.
Amazing.
That's clear. Thank you, guys.
Okay, one last question.
Thank
then
you.
We're gonna Himo.
في الحال عندي سؤال مهم. انتم تقولون اللي عنده عملة او يستحق مكافآت، هالمكافآت وين نحصلها تقريبا؟
He asked that we said that WOO stakers or WOO holders receives a yield or incentives. He is asking, where can we get this?
So part of the trading fees from WooFi, those are going to WooFi stakers. There's also the burn, but I think the biggest part is really we're offering new products in the future. One example is social trading, where there may be limited access And by being a staker, you can get access to these other benefits. So imagine being able to follow a strategist. It could be maybe a Chronos momentum strategy or a top trader on UX, and being able to copy and mirror their portfolio. So I think there's going to be other types of benefits for stakers that equate to yield or returns beyond just the current ones.
Yeah, I think he's asking where can you get it though. Like right now, WooFi is on BSC. If you're familiar with BSC, you can get it there. They're going to move to other chains probably next up. I think we've hinted at this in the past. Will be Avalanche. If you're more of a C5 person, just on WooX, that's probably the easiest place to get it.
Yes.
Yeah. فجوابهم قال إن في عندك طريقتين. إذا تبي شيء مركزي، منصات مركزية، فوو إكس المنصة مالتهم، طرش الوو مالك هناك وتسوي لها ستيك في تاب، يعني سكشن بروحه ستيك. إذا تبي منصات غير مركزية فعندهم مو فاي تو سواله اليوم تو بادي، تقدر تحط هناك عملاتك الوو وتحصل نسبة من ربح هالمنصة.
يعطيك العافية.
الله يعافيك.
So from your question earlier, Ben, when you asked about the MENA region, so our biggest, let's say, feedback that we get is the lack of the Arabic language in your website or an application. So since we have a lot of native speakers, there's a high request of an Arabic language. That's number one. And number two is basically having a WOO Arabic community.
And we are covering that. Maybe also the fiat onboarding and offboarding. It's more complicated for average user to do wire transfer or execute it. So that's why they end up using local exchanges to send their money, and then from there they send it, for example, to exchange. So if there is like more easy direct ramp, maybe that will help.
Of course. I think Q1 of next year, the localization of all the products, mobile and WooX, will be complete. And in terms of fiat, probably the first half of next year. This is an objective we want. Obviously, there are more legal compliance dependencies on that. And in regards to what you said about having communities, this is very important. I think Mitchell will agree. Part of the reason the Woo DAO was created was so we can start finding these people, right? Because there are really intelligent, talented people within our community that we haven't engaged with. And through the DAO, we can get to know them. They can take initiative and they can help us grow, because this is really what it's all about, as a decentralized community. And so part of the reason we're here today is because we want to kind of extend this offer for people to get more involved. And we hope that we'll see a lot of you guys again in the future.
All right, amazing. Looking forward, honestly. Okay, so I think we're gonna finalize this, and we'd like to thank you guys very much for joining us late at night.
Yeah, this has been a great opportunity for us, and you guys did an amazing job translating and moderating.
Yeah,
appreciate it. We'll
our
definitely keep
pleasure.
in touch. And Cryptoflation are big supporters to this project. And long Woo, not financial advice.
Yeah, we hope your community tries out WooX and WooFi if they haven't already.
Bruce, I think our community is like the most, are like Woo maxis here. A lot of Woo maxis are here.
We try to push them to use the exchange whenever it's possible. So that's why listing coins will even make it easier for them to replace other exchanges completely.
Yes, I think that futures and localization will help a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mitchell, you're going to have to drop into this Discord server from time to time and say hello and answer questions.
Yes, please.
We
Just
would like
tag me.
a GM every day.
I could do that for sure.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Have a good afternoon, everyone.
All right.
Take it easy. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
See you.